I'm a spirit channeler and oracle card reader who channels both light and shadow energies in my readings, which means if you're easily triggered, please find yourself another reader. Hey everyone, welcome back. So today's reading will be on the topic of where is the bullshit? Let's find the bullshit. So this can be about anything. I'm going to leave this reading open. It could be about people, another person, a place, a situation, your own mind, subconscious, absolutely anything. We will be looking into it and finding where the bullshit lies. So you have 6 piles to choose from left to right. Pile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pause the video if you need some more time to choose your pile, and I will see you in your reading. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. So your bullshit is that you are deluding yourself when it comes to romance, when it comes to finding love. Now, it appears as though the majority of you guys have given up on finding a love connection, a real love connection, something more than just the physical connection. Because we do have the most sexually explicit lovers card in this deck. There are, I think, at least 2 lovers cards, and there seems to be an issue here where in your past you were hurt. Now, this could have been a romantic partner who hurt you, or it could have been stemming from your childhood, because this is a general reading. Whatever occurred, you basically told yourself that you will be just fine being alone. You will be just fine being a bachelor or a bachelorette forever. So what I did have a vision of was someone sharpening something with a long sword on a long sword. And whatever they were sharpening in their hands, it looked kind of like some sort of fruit, some unidentifiable fruit, but it was bleeding like a piece of flesh would or an organ would. So it may have been your heart, but it wasn't clear enough. And what I feel like that is telling me is that it's a little bit more complicated than that, a little bit more ambiguous than that. It's not so much that you're hurting your heart by not opening it up to love. It's more that you're kind of bullshitting yourself, because seriously, deep down with this spirit dancer card here, deep down, and also the spirit dancer is connected to the Loxuna card, which is about finding buried things that are buried. Deep down, you really do want a strong connection. You want to find that soulmate. You want that deep romance that is in the fairy tales that you see in the movies and that you hear about. But it seems like you've had experiences where this is just eluding you, or you've seen, because I really am seeing that some of you guys have seen it from your parents, where your parents got divorced, they were fighting, they went through a messy divorce, or one parent was always cheating on the other, or one parent was just not there, and you just do not want that to happen. You do not want to have kids where one parent is not there, or when you don't want to have kids and then the two of you get divorced and then the kid is upset because the other parent's not coming to see them, or you don't have assistance. Like whatever you saw growing up, some of you guys, I am really seeing that growing up there was an issue with your parents and you don't want a repeat of that. And there could have also been abuse there. You don't want a repeat of that. So you're just avoiding romance in your adulthood altogether. Others of you, this is stemming from a poor romantic partners that you had in the past. It could be one in particular who really broke your heart. And you're just like, you know what? This is enough. I'm not doing this again. I'm not going through this again. I'm just going to remain single. Again, hooking up. I'm seeing some hooking up. But other than that, casual friends with benefits situations, I'm not actually getting deeply involved with anyone. I'm not actually giving anyone my heart. I'm not actually going to commit to anyone. So you always have one foot in a relationship and one foot out of it if you ever do find yourself in a relationship at all. And for the majority of you guys, I don't even see you being in a relationship, just kind of friends with benefits situations. So with this High Priestess card here, it's like you're deluding yourself. There are secrets that are swarming around. You kind of know this, but at the same time, you're denying the truths that are being revealed to you. The way you feel when you watch movies, romance movies, or when you read romance novels, or when you see couples outside, or when you hear your friend talking about their own relationship or whatnot, the way you feel is what you should pay attention to, because that's what your soul, your heart is actually gravitating towards. But you're ignoring that intuition, you're ignoring that information, and you're basically trying to be more cerebral and tell yourself, nah, I don't want that. That's just a trick of the heart. It's just a trick of biology, because my human body biologically wants to reproduce to continue to populate the earth. Like, you know what I mean? And some of you guys, I'm also seeing that you are absorbing yourself with work with that high priestess card. It's like, nah, I'm too busy, I'm just working. And a lot of you guys are taking up way too many hours at work, way more than you actually need to, especially if you're someone who manages a store or a division of a franchise, or you own your own business. It's like you technically don't have to work more than 40 hours a week. You technically don't have to work more than 5 days a week, but you're still doing it. That's for some of you guys. I'm seeing that you're just swamping yourself with work, where it's just like you're trying to give yourself even more excuses. I don't have time. Even if I wanted to, I just don't have time. You know what I mean? So basically, to wrap this up, to keep this reading short so I can do 6 pals, you're deluding yourself when it comes to love. You really do want a soulmate connection, but you need to open yourself up to that, because that is how you're going to find a soulmate connection. Okay, so those are your messages. I hope that helped you, and I hope it resonated. Let me know if it did, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, pal 2. Welcome to your reading. So, where is the bullshit? So, the bullshit is actually coming from yourself, and you telling yourself that there are no other options for living your life and for a fulfilling life. So, I did have a vision of first you standing on some sort of red surface, like a red, I don't know, just a weird, just bright red surface. And then you were still in this bright white room with absolutely nothing in it. Absolutely nothing in it. What I'm picking up from this is that that bright red surface represents a situation. I'm really picking up career here, but it could be anything, because this is a general reading. Could even be romance, could be friendships, finances, but I'm really picking up career very specifically. You are in a situation where you're like, this is my only option. That bright red disc that I saw you standing on, it's like, this is my only option. This is my only option for a career. I have experience in this. I'm trained in this. I'm really seeing some sort of entry level position for most of you guys, but again, general reading, doesn't have to be. But I'm really seeing coffee shops. Some of you guys, there's a coffee shop, you work in a coffee shop, you've been working in a coffee shop since you're high school, and you're still working there, and you're like, I don't have the extra money to go back to school. I don't have the time to go back to school full time. I don't have help. If some of you guys have a child, I don't have help for the kid to be able to go back to school. I can't switch jobs because I don't have experience in anything else, or I don't have post-secondary education. Like, there's just I'm really seeing all of this, so many excuses where it's like, why you're stuck on this bright red disc that you don't even like. But the reason why it was bright red, also, that's signifying that you're discontent with it. But also bright red in a completely white and blank room, that's the only thing that you see. If the entire room is just bright and white and really just plain and empty and void, and you just have this bright red disc, well, what are you going to keep doing? You're just going to keep walking back to that bright red disc, because that's the only contrast in the white room that has absolutely nothing in it. So whatever you feel like, oh, I'm going to leave this job, I'm going to apply somewhere else, you just keep going back to the same type of job. So even if you leave this one employment, say it's a coffee shop that I was seeing for some of you guys, you just end up working in another coffee shop, or like, you know what I mean? So it's a repeat of the same stuff, and you're basically telling yourself that, well, there are no other options available to me. Now, we do have the 7 of Cups card at the end. So obviously, the 7 of Cups is all about options. It's the card for multiple options, not just 2 like the 2 of Wands or the 2 of Swords, but the 7 of Cups is about multiple options, okay? Several. So The thing is, we have it next to the Magician card, and also that is in alignment with my vision of a blank white room. So usually what the Seven of Cups would imply is that you do have a lot of options. You just need to make a choice between all of these options. With it being next to the Magician and in collaboration with my vision, actually you kind of don't. And that's not because you're screwed. It's actually because you're not manifesting other options. Your life is a blank canvas. It's literally a tabla rasa, a blank slate for you to fill. With that Magician card, you have to manifest something. For some people, they may have other options, but that they're not paying attention to. For you, literally, because you're such a strong manifester, if you're telling the universe and telling your reality that you have no other option, guess what? You literally will not have any other option. Like, it's that serious. You guys are strong manifestors with that Magician card coming out. Like, make no mistake about it. You feel right now that you're not, and you feel that way because you're not able to manifest a life that you want, but it's because you don't actively believe that you can, and therefore you're not actively trying to do anything. So because you're telling yourself, I don't have any options, as opposed to other people with weaker manifestation abilities, if they tell themselves they don't have any other options, there still will be options for them. They're just not going to really be seeing them as plausible opportunities and plausible options. For you, literally, when you keep telling the universe that you don't have any options, all options erase. They do not exist. Okay? So that's how you're bullshitting yourself. We have the singer of healing card here, and the singer of courage card. So you literally have to heal that limiting mindset of yours, and you literally have to gain the courage to step out of your comfort zone with that a muckle card here. It's literally about doing something different than you've been doing the entire time. You need to garner the courage to be able to manifest, again, with that Magician card, more options to appear. Again, the Seven of Cups. So you need to begin affirmations, do some mirror work, do some meditation, do some spell work even, because you can do that, where more options are opening up. Opening up. You may need to start rather vaguely if you want. I mean, some of you guys, this is generally, some of you guys know deep down, oh, I really want to go back to school. You know this. So don't start vaguely. Just say, the opportunity to go back to school is opening up. The opportunity to go back to school is opening up. Some of you guys, you know you don't want to go back to school, but you just know you want another job, but you don't necessarily know what job it is. You just know you want another one. Then say, more job opportunities are opening up. More job opportunities are opening up. Just keep repeating that. And even though you may not particularly know what kind of job, just opening up opportunities will give you more options to look at. So you'll be able to look at these opportunities that are opening up finally and say, oh, I don't really like that one. Oh, I like this one. Oh, I don't really like that one. And then you'll be able to tailor your affirmation to narrow it down a bit more. So, for example, like, even if it's like, opportunity to go back to school is opening up, say you don't really know what you want to take. You're going to start hearing people are going to come into the coffee shop. Oh, hey, yeah, I'm on break. I need to go back and study. I'm taking accounting or something like that. Like, you'll just hear about these different schools or programs that people are in. Some people might come in, oh yeah, I'm in IT, I'm like, this computer course is so hard, and you'll hear about different opportunities, and you'll be able to pick up what actually piques your interest and what you're not interested in, and then you'll be able to narrow that down and tailor down your manifestations. So start vague, start open, start a bit more general with the whole more opportunities are opening up thing. You can specify the type of opportunities, whether it's job, whether it's relationships, whether it's more opportunities to earn money, whether it's more opportunities to go back to school, whatnot. More opportunities to move, so you want to move, whatever it is for you, just do that. But you need to actually actively begin manifesting, because you feel like you can't manifest, you feel like you don't have manifestation powers, but I'm telling you, you actually do. And the fact that you're saying, I don't have manifestation powers because I have no opportunities, is literally making all the opportunities completely disappear. So basically, to wrap it up, where's your bullshit? It's you're bullshitting yourself by saying that the world is not giving you any opportunities when you're actually telling the world to remove all the opportunities. So you can actually create opportunities just as easily or just as real like as you can manifest the absence of opportunities. Okay, so those are your messages. I hope that helped you and I hope it resonated. Let me know if it did, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. So where's your bullshit? So we have a pattern here of 3 piles in a row of the bullshit coming from the person and not really externally. So this is continuing. We have a three times streak here. So with you guys, I see you trying to manifest, okay? I did have a vision of a cauldron that was brewing a potion, and it was in a kind of shack out in the woods somewhere, filled with the potion bottles and all that kind of stuff, like a witch's shack. But the witch was nowhere to be found, and I zoomed down, like, where are they? Where's this person? They were outside in the snow, just, I don't know what they were doing, standing there, sitting there, just kind of waiting in the snow. It's like they didn't even know that their home, their shack, was just a couple feet away. It wasn't that far away from where they were. And furthermore, they didn't have any idea that the cauldron, their magical cauldron, was actually brewing up a potion. So you seem like a lost witch to me. So you guys have magical abilities, you guys have manifestation and spell work abilities, but you're coming off rather lost. But even though you mentally are lost because you don't mentally fully know the full capacity of your spell work abilities, and you don't really know where you belong, because remember, in my vision you were out in the snow, you weren't even at home, you didn't even know exactly where your home was. It's like you were looking for it, you knew it was supposed to be around, but you didn't even know where it was. And furthermore, you didn't even know that your cauldron was brewing something. So the thing is, just because you're mentally unaware of your abilities doesn't mean that your abilities are any less effective. Now, we do have this Knight of Cups card here, and with that card I really am seeing someone speaking, okay, speaking and thinking, but especially speaking, even writing. So a lot of communication, but it could also be communication with emotions. Okay, we're always communicating with the matrix, with our emotions. So you guys are strong communicators with your emotions, with your words, with your thoughts, and with your written words and all that. I see someone actively manifesting through communication, but they're kind of like, where the hell is this manifestation? It's like there are these weird serpents coming out of this lion's mouth, but it's looking upwards. So we would think, okay, it's totally aware that these serpents are in its mouth. And I do believe you are aware that you're actively trying to manifest things, you're actively trying to do spell work and all these kinds of things. But it's like you can kind of feel it, but you can't exactly see it. But next to that line, we do have the Knight of Wands. So there we literally have your manifestations working. And we do have the Lover's card. So you do come into union with them eventually. And with that huge moon there, and with these constellations here, and with the other moon there, I am seeing something about a cycle. It be needing time to brew again with that cauldron. You do always come in union with them. So long as, and the really strong point that you need to take away from this, so long as you keep your emotions under control here with that Knight of Cups. Because you have a tendency to kind of say one thing, think one thing, say one thing, think another thing, and emote another thing. So you have a tendency to not really move all of your energies or communication abilities in the same direction, and see how these serpents are all kind of moving out in different directions. You need to get all of your energies aligned to the goal so that the goal can come to fruition faster, because it will. With this Lovers card, you do have a major arcana that's saying you will come into union with all of your manifestations, all of your spell works, but you need to keep all of your communication powers aligned. Okay. And what's going to help you do this? We have this I think is it called Flaff the Footer card, which is all about grounding. You guys need to ground. You guys are coming off, I'm seeing a lot of water and I'm seeing a lot of swords for you guys. A lot of water, a lot of swords. And that means is that your mind can race, can race away with you. It can start moving you, and your emotions can start moving you if you're not careful, because you have such a strong mind and you have such strong emotions. If you don't keep them under control, you don't keep them in order, in line, they can start moving. I'm having a vision right now of a lineup of a military, right? Military lineup. And I'm seeing some people in those lines. You know how they're supposed to be standing really straight, in order, not moving. And I'm seeing some people kind of moving, like switching feet, antsy, kind of from foot to foot. And then I'm seeing some people starting to kind of walk away from the lines. It's like, but they're not mindlessly. It's like zombies. They turn into zombies and they kind of mindlessly start moving away from the lines. And then you have these officers in the front whose jobs it is to come back with their sticks and push them back into the lines and get them to just stand still and stay with the group. So your mind and your emotions have a tendency to wander off in directions of their own, and you have to keep them aligned. You have to keep them under control, because what's happening is that the universe is picking up all of the communications that you're giving it. And if you keep giving it contradictory information, that's going to prolong the amount of time it takes for your manifestations to come to fruition. And it may also completely dissolve them, completely cancel them, depending on how strong your divergent thoughts and emotions are and how long they last, right? But I do feel like for you guys, most of the time, it's not that you're canceling them, is that you're extending the time frame. So with that Soul Shrinker card here at the beginning, I am seeing a issue with you blaming outside circumstances, mainly because this group is really metaphysical, really, that kind of stuff. You're more blaming the universe, you're more blaming the world, you're more blaming maybe your spirit guides or whatnot. Then I don't see you blaming the government or blaming the economy. Like, people have different blaming games that they do, when people who are more trapped in the 3D will blame like the government, the economy, and that sort of stuff, even their upbringing and stuff like that. I'm not saying you never ever place a little bit of blame on your upbringing, on your current living situations and that sort of stuff, but it's more for you guys, most of your blame goes towards abstract places, the universe, your spirit guides, God, the matrix, etc., where it's like, I'm manifesting, I'm doing the spell work, I'm doing the work. Where the hell, why is it not coming, and why is it taking so long? What's with this time delay? Okay, where the hell is it? So basically, to wrap this up, where's the bullshit in your life? It's that you kind of turn into you kind of turn into like a zombie sometimes, from time to time, where your emotions and your mental body takes over yourself, your being, and they start moving you out of that structured military line that I was seeing. And those movements out of the order adds extra time to the fruition of your manifestations. But remember, just because the witch was outside in the snow, you couldn't see your cauldron was brewing. So as long as you emote these emotions, these communications, the cauldron of the universe is brewing, even if you can't see it. It's reacting immediately to the information that you give it. It is definitely brewing, but you can't keep walking off. Different parts of you can't allow different parts of you to walk off in different directions, because that is adding, at the very least, the smaller end of the scale, it's adding extra time to the fruition of your manifestations. And then at the larger end of the scales, it might actually cancel them, again, depending on how strong and how long it lasts. And another thing I really need to point out, we do, again, with that flap the footer and the fact that you were outside in the snow, you really need to ground yourself. You need to do grounding practices, at least one grounding practice every single day. Just as much as you brush your teeth every day, you take a shower every day, you need to do a grounding practice every day. You need to find one that really resonates with you. It could be going outside for a walk. It could be standing barefoot in your backyard if you have one. Could be sitting near a house plant, a large house plant, for a certain amount of time. It could be doing a grounding meditation. It could be using essential oils, grounding essential oils. It could be using grounding stones and crystals, whatever it is for you. It could be grounding visualizations, frequencies, tones. You need to just find, it's kind of like different flavors of a cake. Whatever flavor really matches your taste, you need to find it. Test different things out, but you need to find one, because don't think that grounding is only about going outside, because I think it's actually funny that you're outside in the snow. It's like, who really wants to be outside in the snow except for a small group of people who are just crazy. So you may actually be a group of people who don't really like being outside that much. It's not that you don't enjoy the scenery and the beauty and the birds and the animals. I feel like you enjoy them from afar, but it's like literally sitting down in the grass and stuff like that, or playing in the snow and stuff like that, is not really your cup of tea. It's not your forte. For some of you guys, for those of you guys where you're like this, that it totally is my cup of tea, then we don't need to have this conversation. You just need to keep doing it and do more of it, because you're not doing it enough. You already found your flavor of the cake. Go do it more. But for a good chunk of you guys here, I'm feeling like that's not your flavor of the cake. So whenever you hear in readings and stuff and people are like, oh, ground, you're like, I don't want to. Like, I would rather just sit at home in front of my computer or something like that. I don't want to. So like I said, different flavors of the cake, different techniques for grounding. I did list some of them. You need to experiment with them, find whichever one really matches your cup of tea, your flavor. You really need to pick one. You need to do it every day, just as much as you always take a shower every day, you always brush your teeth every day. You really need to ground every day, because like I said, if you don't continue to ground, this is going to happen to you, where you're giving off these communications that are going in different directions, and that equals extending the time for this manifestation to come in. Okay, so those are your messages. I hope that helped you, and I hope it resonated. Let me know if it did, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, Pal 4, welcome to your reading. So where's the bullshit? So the bullshit is basically that you feel like you are stuck with this romantic partner and that you have no other options. So I'm not sure how you got into this situation, but for whatever reason, you feel like you're tied to this person forever, for the rest of your life. So you may actually be married to this person. Some of you guys, your parents may have betrothed you to this person from when you guys were both children, and you feel like you're stuck and you can't get out of the marriage or the engagement. Others of you may have a child with this person, so you kind of feel like you need to remain with them for the sake of the child. Others of you there's some sort of financial issue, so you don't feel like you have any financial way to leave, and they are your provider. There is some weird reason here that it's like you feel like you need to remain in this tumultuous and toxic romantic relationship, an unfulfilling romantic relationship, even though you don't want to. And literally, it's not like you're thinking, oh, I want to leave. You're bullshitting yourself by thinking I should not want to leave. That's not even an option. It's hard to explain. It's like your, because I did have a vision of someone on a bull, like a mechanical bull or something, that was, jerking the way they do. And then when I clarified that the person was jumping, like hopping up and down in the air, but they were still on the bull, they're hopping back down on the bull. And the person wasn't even having fun. So it's not like they were doing it for fun like some people do. It's like they were on the bull and they felt like that was life. That is life, and that's life. Like, like how we're on the earth, and the theory of relativity, how we're on the earth but we're stationary, and then it's only when we're walking or we're in a car or a moving vehicle that we're moving. But actually, in fact, even if we're sitting down, we're still moving because the earth is rotating. So it's like you kind of feel like, well, the earth just rotates. It just rotates. And that's the equivalent of, well, I'm in this relationship. I'm just in this relationship. It's like, have you thought about leaving this relationship? Is almost the equivalent of asking you, have you thought about leaving Earth? Or have you thought about stopping the rotation of the Earth? That's the same as asking you, have you thought about divorcing this person? Have you thought about going to be starting a new relationship with someone brand new? It's like, have you thought about turning the light off of the sun? Like, what do you mean? Like, it just doesn't, like, there's no way else I can explain this. It's just like you're deluding yourself as if this is normal behavior. Being unhappy in a relationship is normal. Everyone is unhappy in a relationship. Everyone gets yelled at by their romantic partner. Everyone is forced into a marriage by their parents. Everyone is not afforded the ability to get divorced because women are not afforded the ability to get divorced, or they're dependent on their husbands for an income. Like, this is just obvious. Everyone needs to remain in with their husband if they have children. You can't take a child away from their father. Like, duh. Like, what are you talking about? Otherwise does not exist. That's not a thing. So you're deluding yourself, because obviously it is a thing. Lots of people get divorced even if they have a child. Many people around the world do not have parents who dictate to them who they're going to get married to. That's not a thing. That might be a thing in your culture and in your village, but that's not a thing around the world. Not everyone has relationships where the romantic partner is narcissistic and abusing them, or verbally abusive, or or cheating on them. That's not normal. Don't think, well, all men cheat. I mean, listen, a good chunk of them do, but not all of them do. And it's not normal to be in a monogamous relationship where only one person is being monogamous. That's not how things work. That's not the definition of monogamy. It's not normal for one romantic partner to be verbally harassing another, or someone's in-laws to be verbally harassing them because they live with their in-laws. Like, that's not normal. So stop. You're bullshitting yourself by telling yourself that these unhappy situations in this romantic relationship are normal. And that remaining stuck in this romantic relationship is actually a thing, just as the way the sun always rises every day and then goes to sleep every day. That's just the thing that happens, and that's just the way it is. That's not true. So basically, that's how you're bullshitting yourself. You basically should leave the situation. We do have this Two of Wands card here that could mean connection, but as soon as I saw that, I saw the Piper, I saw the Singer of Connection, and I saw this Two of Wands as literally two people separating in two different directions. Then I saw this Three of Cups, where it's like, now we have a third person involved here. Now we have friends. Now we're going out with friends again. Now we're talking to people again outside of this romantic relationship. Now we can actually go out and talk to people and have fun without getting this person's permission to do this. Now we can be happy, because the Three of Cups is about celebration. Now we can be happy. Now we can be joyful. Now we can do the hobbies that we actually enjoy and not have to be forced to do the things and watch the things that the romantic partner wants us to do, because they don't want to do the things that we want to do, and they're not giving us permission to do the things that we want to do. And then after being in a state of being able to do the things that you want to do and hang out with the people that you want to hang out with after you leave this person, i.e. the Two of Wands, you get to the Two of Cups card here, where you're actually in a happy relationship, where you're actually feeding your romantic partner honey, and they're happily accepting it because they adore you and they think you're the greatest person in the world. And another thing I need to point out with this Piper card here is that it's telling me that you're telling people how to treat you by you remaining silent. If your romantic partner, if your mother-in-law, if your father-in-law are treating you like shit and you're not telling them to not treat you like shit, then you're giving them permission to treat you like shit because you're not telling them to not treat you like shit. And if you're remaining in an abusive relationship, you're giving the romantic partner permission to continue to abuse you because you're not leaving. And you're also giving the romantic partner permission to continue to cheat on you because you're not leaving and because you're not saying anything. So you're giving yourself permission to be unhappy because you're remaining in an unhappy romantic situation. So that's where the bullshit is coming from. The world is not like this. This is your little world that is distorted. It's not real. That's not the way the life works, okay? So those are your messages. I hope that helps you and I hope it resonated. Let me know if it did, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, pal number 5. Welcome to your reading. So where's the bullshit? So I first need to ask, are some of you guys in the military? Because I'm feeling heavy military vibes here. And that could be symbolic for the rest of you guys, but some of you guys here are actually in the military. I did have a vision of a fighter jet flying at an angle, like maybe about 45-degree, then dropping some bombs and then continuing to fly. Then I also had another vision of someone on a huge ship. It seemed like they were throwing a net overboard and pulling something in. Some of you guys could be fishermen, but some of you guys could also be in the Navy. So I just need to put that in there, but there's some kind of war zone, military following orders thing happening here. So whatever profession that you guys are doing involves following orders and not asking questions and going against your moral compass and doing things anyway because you were ordered to do it. So you're bullshitting yourself by believing the bullshit, actually. You're being fed bullshit by someone in authority. And you're believing, you're eating the bullshit, you're believing the bullshit because you're refusing to look at the details. There are details that present themselves to you that seem off, but you overlook them because of the reasoning that the higher-ups give you for the actions. So I am seeing something along the lines of stealing money from people, selling people products and services that they don't need and that are actually going to cost them money long term or make them lose money. Maybe even going to war and killing people and stuff like that. But they're telling you, well, it's for this reason and that reason, and we're doing it to them particularly because they are X, Y, and Z. So it's like your manager maybe at work is saying, sell them this, the burgers from yesterday. And you're like, aren't we supposed to not do that because they've been sitting out there and they haven't been refrigerated, and isn't that like a health risk? And the manager's like, no, it tastes the same, it's fine, don't worry, it's not going to work. And the bottom line is profit. So if we throw that away, then the business is going to lose money. Are you going to pay us back? And you're like, no. Well, then just do it. And you're just like, okay, surely no one's going to get food poisoning, surely, because they wouldn't do that because they don't want a lawsuit. So you're kind of making yourself think, okay, well, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought it was. So then you do it anyways. And or like if you drop something on the floor, you work at a restaurant, you drop something on the floor, they're like, oh yeah, don't worry, pick it up, put it back on the plate. Then you're justifying it. Well, the floor is not that dirty anyways. Every morning the busboy mops and then he mops it every night. So we've only been here for like 4 hours. So the floor can't be that dirty. Like this is the stuff that I'm picking up here. um, and people telling you, like, oh, it's okay that we're taking the houses away from these people to build a huge condominium, or it's okay that we're telling these people that we are going to sign these papers and we're going to represent them. I just had a flash of that incident. I can't remember exactly where it was. I think it was somewhere in Quebec, some years ago, where a train went off the rail, and I think it killed a bunch of people. And then there were American lawyers who came in, because I think it was an American train company, and they're like, oh yeah, just sign these papers, we're going to represent you guys all in a mass lawsuit and something like that. And they were signing something that ended up making it so that they couldn't sue the company, or that they wouldn't get a lot of money back, or any money back at all. I can't remember the details or what it was called. This was so many years ago. I think it was before even I was born. But it's like, your higher ups are telling you, just get these people to sign this contract, and you're just like, well, the contract here says that if they sign it and we choose to not take this to court, then they're not going to get any compensation, and they can't take it to court as a separate entity. And the person's like, yeah. And you're just like, well, shouldn't they get compensation because their family member died? And then they're like, your higher ups are like, well, no. And they give you some bullshit excuse, and then you're like, well, I guess it can't be that bad. I guess they do have intentions of actually taking this to court. And even though they're not going to get as much money as they would have gotten if they had gone to another agency, we're still going to get a good amount of money. And surely they're going to take this to court. Surely they're not just going to throw this in the garbage and leave these people completely penniless. Anyways, so I'm getting all these random different examples. This is a general reading. So some of those may resonate with some of you guys. Some of you guys, it may not resonate at all, but you're still going to know exactly what the hell I'm talking about, because there is some sort of overlooking details here in I'm really seeing job. I'm not seeing anything other than your finances and your career here. You're overlooking details, and you're believing the bullshit that the higher ups are telling you, because you're like, well, you're believing them. So anyways, so basically this is backfiring in another manner. So you're doing these things in the 3D, you're allowing these things to physically happen. But with this Unity card next to the 5 of Pentacles, it's like everyone is one. I know that might sound cliche, but especially when you have so much guilt and resignation about doing something and you do it anyway, you're basically kind of doing it to yourself, and it causes energies to move back towards you, where you end up losing out in other areas of your life, hence the 5 of Pentacles. At some point it's coming back around, and it could even just come back around because you have nightmares, or you have such deep guilt or something like that, or you end up actually physically losing money with that 5 of Pentacles. But there's always some sort of issue. You have some sort of issue in your life that always keeps popping up. There's some bad luck, there's always something, and it's because you're doing these things, you're going along with what you're being ordered to do. And it's kind of like hexing someone and then you getting the reverse karma for it. And I'm not someone who believes in the whole law of 3 thing. That's the Wiccans who believe that as long as you hex someone, you're going to get it back threefold and all that kind of stuff. I actually don't believe in that. I do believe that if it's justified and the degree of the hex matches the offense, and also if you do feel like it was justified, that nothing really is going to come back around. But with you guys, it's actually because you don't feel justified doing these things to these people, and because you feel guilty when you're doing it, because you actually know that what you're doing is wrong, but you're doing it anyway because you feel like you need a paycheck or you need to advance in your career. Because of this, all that karma is actually indeed coming back around to you. So it's like if someone hexes someone and they know that they actually don't deserve it, it's coming back around. Like, it's reminding me a bit of that big trial that's happening right now with the 2 celebrities. I'm not going to mention their names. I kind of feel like they should have a little bit more privacy than they're having now, but nevertheless, that's the American court system, it appears. But it's like one person in the relationship obviously did a bunch of shitty things and lied on the other person, but now that karma seems to be coming back around to that person. So it's everything is coming back around to you, and you may try to feel like, oh, I'm absolved of this because I'm just an employee, I'm following orders, but no, you're not absolved of it. So basically, again, with that Five of Pentacles, I am seeing issues in your life. Could be financial, again, mental issues, emotional issues, nightmares, whatever, lots of deep guilt. I'm hearing issues with relationships, romantic partners. I'm hearing rifts between romantic partners. There is hope here though with that star card. So you actually need to follow your inner guidance here with that star card. You need to stop listening to these people's bullshit and stop overlooking details because of the bullshit that they're telling you. It's like they're trying to serve you stale food and they're like, no, it's not stale. It's just crispy. And you're like, okay. And you're believing them, even though you're literally staring at a plate of stale food in front of your face. And this could even be romantic relationships for some of you guys. Like I did say, I am only picking up career really. But because this is a general reading, you could have a romantic partner who's lying to your face. And you're like, I know you lied about that because you just sent me a text message saying the other thing. And then they're telling you, no, that's not what I meant. And you're just like, okay. Right? So you believe them, they're bullshit anyways. So anyways, that's where the bullshit is coming from. You know that your bosses, the higher ups, the authorities are not being forthcoming, they're not being morally acceptable, but you need that paycheck. You feel like you need that paycheck. You feel like you need to remain in their good graces. You need to ascend the ladder. And if this is not career, there are people whose good graces you feel like you need to remain within. And as a result, that's why you're doing all these things for them, because you really feel like you need to, because otherwise they're going to kick you out of the group or they're going to be mad at you or something like that. So those are your messages. I hope that helped you and I hope it resonated. Let me know if it did, and I will see you in my next reading. Hello, pal 6. Welcome to your reading. So what is bullshitting you? Where's the bullshit? Now, this reading is entirely about someone who is a mother or a father with children. If you do not have children, then this could be about nieces or nephews or godchildren who you observe through your friends or your family members. And it could be that. But if you don't have children and if none of your close friends have children, I don't see how this could possibly be your reading. So where's the bullshit? The bullshit is that you're repeating patterns, or you're allowing patterns to be repeated. If you are someone looking into, again, your brother and his kid, or your sister and their kid, or your friend and their kid, etc., their situation, you're allowing ancestral patterns to be repeated, ancestral trauma to be repeated and passed on to this kid. Now, I did have a vision of a baby with a lollipop, putting it in the sand or the dirt on the ground, and then picking it back up and then putting it back into their mouth. And I think the mother was nearby hovering around, and she didn't really notice, or she didn't really see it. She didn't do anything. Then I had another vision of a mother tucking her or strapping her baby into the baby seat in the back of the car, making sure she was safe, she was all buckled in and whatnot, and then turning around and lighting a cigarette in the car with all the windows up. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to keep you safe, child, but I'm also going to cause you trauma or cause you issues and hurt you inadvertently at the same time. So it's like, yeah, you strapped in the kid and made sure that he or she would not fly out of a car seat if you were to, God forbid, get into a car accident. But now you are filling their lungs with poison because you are smoking around them. And you're also encouraging them to pick up that habit once they're old enough to pick up that habit. Because if they're going to have been watching you their entire life smoke. And again, something with that lollipop thing, again, that could have been symbolic, but there might also be something about allowing children to play outside and not really supervising them. So for some of you guys, there seems to be an issue here with not supervising your children right well. I'm seeing that with this Hanged Man card. It's like, well, I'm just gonna take a nap on top of this tree, or I'm going to allow my kid to take a nap on top of that tree. And it's like he or she could fall down and break their leg, but that's children. Children are children. Or I'm just gonna take a nap and allow them to run around outside. I'm not really going to supervise them. Again, this is all happening next to this 10 of Cups card, which is like, well, we're happy, this is a happy family, this is how children are supposed to be raised, this is the way families are supposed to be, and this is because these are the memories that you grew up with, this is the way you grew up. So with that list of the shadows card here, again, there's definitely some issues, some trauma, some shadow energy. Again, with it being next to a dressing of a salad, there's some shadow energy, some trauma that's being passed on to your children that you're passing on, or that you're observing and your family members or your friends doing to their children, and you're not stepping in, you're not saying anything. Because again, that's how you were brought up. So it could be some form of abuse, it could be some form of neglect, it could be some form of, I really am picking up abuse or neglect here, where it's like, well, I'm doing it for their good. So discipline, I'm quote unquote disciplining my child, but you're actually traumatizing them because you keep beating them. Or I'm letting children beat children because I'm letting them run around without supervision, but this isn't the 80s anymore. Children are getting kidnapped now. I mean, actually, I think they were getting kidnapped in the 80s too. There's some issue. This is a general reading, so you know what the issue is. Let me see if I can clarify what this issue is. This is the first group that I'm gonna pull more cards, because this is I mean, you should know exactly what it is as soon as I start talking about this is a 9 of Swords, by the way, so this is actually not funny. I'm just laughing at the fact that it's like the cards are just corroborating everything that I just said. That's a 9 of Swords. This is what's happening to these children, or this child. 5 of Pentacles. Guys, I can't make this shit up. We have the 9 of Swords and we have the 5 of Pentacles. So, poverty and mental trauma. Poverty and mental trauma, that is what's being passed on to the children. Now, for some of you guys, it could be, look, and it's happening at home. Here's the 4 of Wands. It's happening at home. I can't make this shit up. So there's some sort of, for some of you guys, it could be that you're passing on poverty mentality to them. You grew up with the poverty mentality, the conditioning, the negative paradigms, subconscious paradigms and negative limiting beliefs about money and finances, which led you to grow up poor and in poverty and continuing to be that way. And you're continuing to pass it on to your children, actually. So they're going to grow up and they're not going to do much better than you've done with your life, because you're not changing the way that you talk to them about money, or the way you talk about money around them. You're not changing the environment that they're in. They're still in poor environments. Look, we have the Hierophant in reverse. It's about unlearning the stuff that your parents taught you. Unlearning it and teaching them something new. Don't teach them the same old shit. So yeah, and underneath the deck I do have the 2 of Swords, and she's like kind of stabbing herself in the head with one of those swords. That's not really a nice image, but you get the impression. You're sabotaging your kid, and I do have the Moon card underneath that. Again, subconscious, trapped trauma that's being passed on, that you're not really fully aware that you're passing on, because in this 4 of Wands card, again, we have him blindfolded, and we do have the Moon card again. So it's like, this is what I was taught, again with the Hierophant in reverse. This is what I was taught, even though it wasn't the right information, but I'm going to keep passing it on to the children. I'm going to keep doing it the same way. So this is a general reading. I'm picking up abuse. I'm picking up neglect. Abuse under the guise of discipline, I need to say. I'm also picking up neglect. I'm also picking up messing with their health, with smoking and the bad influence of them seeing you continuing to smoke, or maybe doing drugs or something like that. I'm also picking up poverty mindsets and poverty environments. Yeah, that's what I'm picking up. I did say neglect. Also, I'm also picking up something to do about romantic relationships. I do have this 2 of Cups card that came up here. Be careful which romantic partner or which romantic partners you're bringing around your child. So you need to figure out what this is. You know what it is. It's popping up in your mind while you're hearing this reading. Like I said, if you don't have children, don't say it's not you if you have children. If you have children, it's your children and it's you. Period, period, period. Full stop if you're British. Full freaking stop. Okay? But if you don't have children, that's the only opportunity in this reading where it's obviously not your children because you don't have any, and it's maybe your nieces and your nephews, your cousins, or your godchildren. But if you have children, don't say, oh, it's not my children, it must be my best friend's children because I see what she's doing, blah, blah, blah. It could also be her in addition, right? Because if you're seeing these things that she's doing or he's doing that you don't agree with, definitely that could be it in addition. Operative word being it, or words being in addition to you and your own children. So long as you have children, don't delude yourself and try to tell yourself, oh, it's not me, it has to be, I know who she's talking about, it's my brother and his kids, the way he treats his kids, he's always drinking around them, it has to be that. No, it's that in addition to your own children, if for so long as you have children. Okay, so to wrap it up, how are you bullshitting yourself? You're bullshitting yourself by repeating the bullshit that you were traumatized with growing up, and repeating it and passing it on to your children. Okay, so those are your messages. I hope that helped you and I hope it resonated. Let me know if it did, and I will see you in my next reading.